What's good, y'all? I'm about to react to this breaking while Marvel Studios just canceled the last multiverse saga untitled release date. Oh snap! That what project did they cancel? Cause I know I heard about the Simpsons being in the way of like a release date. They was trying to get like a Marvel movie out, some stuff like that. So hey, give us the news, everything always.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka All Fires. Incidentally, we just talked about this at the channel within the last week when we gave you guys an update about Doctor Strange 3 and that untitled Marvel movie release that was still scheduled for the summer of 2027 in between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. And we'll talk about exactly what my logic and reasoning was for thinking Marvel may cancel this movie and why days later they actually have. Yes, that's right. Disney and Marvel have officially canceled the untitled Marvel release for the summer of 2027. We're going to break it all down, and even though they did so quietly and didn't offer a specific reason, we're going to break down the very obvious reasons why this movie would have been a near impossibility for Marvel Studios to pull off. We're breaking it all down, Marvel Studios' newest cancellation, but first, if you could grab the subscribe, why this movie would have
I ain't gonna lie, that transition was cool. Everything always. I like that transition.
A near impossibility for Marvel Studios to pull off. We're breaking it all down, Marvel Studios' newest cancellation. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button. Thanks to everyone who's been subbing in the last week or so. We're actually on pace for our best week of the year. And if you haven't already, I would just kindly invite you to do so. Whether you've been rocking with the channel for a while or this is your first time finding us, subbing is the best way to support us. Plus, it'll automatically enter you for the giveaways. Again, all you got to do, be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video, stick around at the end of the video, we get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so this was officially reported by Variety breaking late this afternoon, about an hour ago when I'm doing this video, a little bit longer than that before my editor is going to get it up, in which they have now confirmed the untitled Marvel movie that would have released on July 23rd, 2027 has been removed from Disney's calendar. The release date has been now taken by the Simpsons movie sequel. So again, this is official. It's not coming from an industry insider or a Twitter scoopster. This is literally...
I want to know, is that why Simpsons gonna like to hint something that's gonna go on in 2027 or everywhere in the near future or something like that? I wonder why Marvel canceled that project and just let Simpsons run with it. Simpsons, I ain't gonna lie, Simpsons really been hitting that thing. That's what's going on in the world. Like, they've been like predicting all like conspiracy theories that people been talking about and all that. I want to know, is that why, or is it something else?
Coming from a Hollywood trade that works with Marvel on a lot of occasions to make sure they get information like this correct. So, not to pat myself on the back, but to recap my video about Doctor Strange 3 from just days ago, where one Twitter scoopster indicated that Sam Raimi's now in negotiations to direct said film, and we speculated that if they're moving forward with it, at least it could hit a production deadline to put it on that 2027 release date. My line of thinking is that it would be impossible for Marvel Studios to work another Marvel movie into their production schedule over the next 24 months. And a lot of reasons for that. Number one, the way that they've written the scripts, or should I say the way that they haven't written the scripts, means that there are always going to be a lot of details in flux until they shoot the very last scene. And let's face it, with the reshoots they have scheduled, they can change a lot of stuff that hasn't been set in stone already. Reportedly, and depending on which source you want to go by, either the actor Alan Cumming, who said that they eventually did get a script, or the industry insider Jeff Snyder, who indicated recently they still haven't finished the script for Avengers Doomsday. By all accounts, if they did finish it, it only just happened, and we can be sure they're not finished with the script for Avengers Secret Wars. So based on those facts alone, and knowing that Marvel Studios loves to continue to rewrite their films in post-production, trying to sneak a third film in between the two of them that would be completely dependent on the rules that they're still trying to figure out and the happenings in that films, it would have just been too hard for any creatives, let alone the same creatives that are involved, to try to make this third movie and contingent on films that aren't done yet. Way too complicated, way too much margin for error, plot holes, etc. There's no way they could have done that. Now, by that same exact logic, the creatives that are involved right now with Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars aren't just the Russos, aren't just Kevin Feige and the writer, they've got everyone involved. They brought Michael Waldron back, who wrote on the 2 Loki films. We just heard that Brian Andrews, the guy who worked on Marvel Zombies, also worked on action sequences for Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. If you know anything about how they hire people, I bet it's all hands on deck, all their top brass, and especially if you've worked on some of the multiverse films, or especially like Michael Waldron helped establish some of the major canon points, they've got you consulting and reading scripts. They did the same thing for Avengers Endgame, where James Gunn was consulted.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, like, their projects after Endgame, probably Spider-Man was like their only best project after Endgame. Like, everything else just went downhill. Cause I guess they was putting like woke stuff in there about what's going on in the political world right then, and they kind of still is doing it with some projects now. But man, Marvel need to get back to what they was doing. Hopefully, I think Spider-Man Brand New Day will be the beginning of the turn point that MCU needs right now. Shit, that last Spider-Man movie almost hit $1 billion. And I think Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, people really like that movie. I really didn't like that movie because how Scarlet Witch was just like, she was so powerful against like a different team that was in that multiverse. Even though she killed Professor Trice, the old Professor Trice, I felt like that was just so disrespectful how she just killed him like that. I don't think that was in the script, but they just, hey, just roll with it, gonna by our way. But I feel like they really messed some of that movie. I don't think it's supposed to end it like that though. But it's just disrespectful how she just got rid of that Professor Charles Xavier, the old Professor Charles Xavier from the X-Men films, dude. I really like him, dude. Him and Alan McKellen as Magneto together, just their chemistry is unmatched, dude. I love how they had their chemistry with those characters, dude. But that felt so disrespectful just to kill Professor Charles Xavier like that. You know? Hopefully, Spider-Man Brand New Day gets back to where it needs to be for the MCU. Hopefully that movie brings it back. And then they go on with Avengers Doomsday afterwards. And then supposed to get Doctor Strange 3 next after that. And then Secret Wars. But it is what it is with MCU
On the scripts,
right
they
now.
pass them around, try to get as much input as possible, but it's those exact creatives that would also be having to do this for, say, a third Doctor Strange movie, or a fifth Thor, or whatever film they would have tried to wedge between the two of these, and they already are going to be as stretched thin as possible. Reportedly, over the last couple of years, Kevin Feige not having enough bandwidth is part of why he wasn't able to quality control the projects. Right now, they're focused on these 2 Avengers films, and it would have just been another level of difficulty and maybe even impossibility to try to make a third contingent film be produced, written, directed, shot, post-production, and then make it out in the summer of 2027. Not to mention that we haven't even brought up the fact that, well, Marvel movies haven't been performing as well as they did in the past. And you can take it by a lot of metrics. And as far as I'm concerned, if you look at just the black and white of the money side of it, they make a lot more money than a lot of other movies. Regardless of the budget, they are still one of the biggest things going. But you guys know what it is. There's a small contingent of white noise on the internet that always loves to bash everything. And because of how active they are, they end up sounding like the majority when they weren't. Don't get me started, topic for a different video. And even though some of their gripes may be valid, some of their gripes aren't, but when you have really poor writing in Marvel movies, it seems to validate that. Again, let me stop right now with that. But the major takeaway here is that it's a real risk. If they nail Avengers Doomsday and Robert Downey Jr.'s portrayal of Doctor Doom is going to reinvigorate the superhero movies the way that the director on Iron Man 3, Shane Black, said it was going to do, if they nail it and have a great on-ramp for Secret Wars, if the excitement is at an all-time high, then they're really risking taking away from that by putting out a not Avengers title in between the 2 of them and really only leaving about 6 months between that film and when Avengers Secret Wars goes off. Basically, if the discussion around, say, a Doctor Strange 3 or whatever Marvel film would have been snuck in there wasn't as good as they hoped for and somehow lessened the excitement from Doomsday, then it would actually be hurting them more than helping. And that's a risk that I think no matter what, they just wouldn't have been able to take. So really, all in all, while that date may have been held on the calendar right up until today, as I argued in that Doctor Strange 3 video, it may just have been a matter of course of them holding it until they had a new film to put in that spot, like the Simpsons sequel. Now, the other reason they could have held on to that date and for quite some time was reportedly Bob Iger was mad that they didn't have another Marvel movie to go in between the 2 Decembers. He wanted another Marvel film. At least this year they'll have Spider-Man going down in summer, even though that's a co-production with Sony, but thought that they should be making more use of the calendar and the IP. But I would just cautiously say maybe he forgot that that's the exact same thinking and directive that Bob Chapek got the Marvel IP in trouble with, where he just was like, hey, make whatever you can. We need to put out a lot more content. For real, I don't think there needs to be a film in between the 2 Avengers movies, and I'm quite happy there isn't. It gives us a lot of time to sort of sit with Avengers Doomsday, watch it several.
Yeah, I agree with you saying right there, everything. We really don't need. Actually, I'd rather they had this independent projects go ahead, get them out the way, then do Avengers Endgame. Okay. I mean, go ahead and do Avengers Doomsday. Okay. Take a wild break. Wait till next year. Y'all can go ahead and get out Secret Wars. Like, at least give y'all some time to like think over scripts, think over people's roles, probably even recast some people. Like, they can really just like take their time doing this. I think they rushed a lot of projects in the past, and I think they're trying to bring the past projects that they rushed up to now, so to have the MCU be more relevant. But really, they just need to take that time, dude. They don't need to rush, man. They got all the money in the world. Why rush?
Times, make our theories, and really get hyped for Avengers Secret Wars. We don't need something in between. And yes, of course, they could have done the underhander and made it a prequel so that it wasn't contingent, but then why are you even making another movie if you're not going to use that real estate to build up the story that's at play? Making a Doctor Strange 3 sequel that didn't really set up anything extra for Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, no one wants to see that in between the 2 Avengers films anyway. You guys let me know all your thoughts down below if this wasn't a big shock to you. Quickly with the giveaway stuff, we're still giving away PlayStations for every Marvel drop. We just gave one away and confirmed that winner. It'll be shipping out in the next 2 weeks for Robert Button. Leave a comment down below turned on. And as always, really appreciate you checking my music out. Thanks for checking this.
Alright, thank you for this video, everything always, man. But really, they need to get these independent projects. I think only Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. I'm trying to think what else like an independent project. Oh, Thor 5. Really, like all the independent projects of superheroes they can do. They can go ahead and do them right now. Get them out of the way. Then focus on Avengers Doomsday. Take some time off. Read over people's scripts. Change some roles. Recast some people. Change some scenes that they did. Like all that. Like I said earlier. Like they can do all that. They don't have to rush, man. But I think Armor Wars project was gonna come out. I don't know what's up with it. I know Vision Quest supposed to come out. I'm not going to watch Vision Quest. I'm like, man, I'm really done with these shows. I'm so tired of these shows now. I'm just looking forward to how these movies do. I'm just focused on these movies, dog. I'm only looking forward to like one show in the superhero franchise of right now, the DC. I'm really looking at the Lanterns right now. I think the Lanterns really is gonna do something. Cause I'm also a Green Lantern fan. I'm not a big, but I like Green Lantern. I like the 2011 movie that they had of Ryan Reynolds of Green Lantern. But people said that movie was not finished whatsoever, and they just rushed that project. But I like that movie. But I ain't seen it recently. I liked it when I was a kid looking at that movie, but I really ain't looked at it, see how unfinished it was though. But man, hope the MCU get back to where it needs to be. They really don't need to rush, dude. But now they really like going bankrupt, losing money, just steadily fast, just like Disney is. Like, man, y'all really got to put shit out now that people really gonna respect y'all for. They really didn't need to rush when they was putting out projects. When they was really putting out like good projects, like people was gravitating towards. But now they on the brink of whatsoever. Brink of collapse, I would say. I mean, like, hey, just might as well rush now and put out projects. But they really didn't have to do that back in the day. But it is what it is, man. Run them views up for your boy, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.